Hi all, welcome to yet another video of Ride for All. Today, after a long wait, I'm finally going to do the review of my Honda Transalp XL750. Okay, so my Transalp, she's named as Pegasus. Why Pegasus? Mainly because she's a white stallion with wings. So, Pegasus. Alright, so initially let's talk about the design and how it looks. You know, that's the primary thing for majority of the motorcycle buyers. How it looks, you know, does it look good? So Transalp, when it came out, the whole internet was not in favor of the looks. I felt in love with the simplicity of the bike. Yeah, I was not that intimidated like the KTM or Triumph. They have a very distinctive look to the motorcycle, but for this one, it was looking almost similar to CB500X with the headlight being copied directly from that. So there were a lot of hate towards the design of Transalp on internet when it came out, and it's still ongoing. I have seen a number of YouTube videos about this bike, but for me, I enjoy the simplicity of the bike. This looks and feels like an adventure bike, and I also love the old kind of coloring style, the red, dark blue, and the light blues. It's perfect. I have plans to change the graphics, but I'm thinking what to, and I wanted to stick to these three colors in my next graphic as well. So yeah, still considering. Now let's talk about performance and how I feel, the ride feel. I'm not going to talk in depth about the numbers and all those basic details which other YouTubers give. You guys can go check that out yourself. But yeah, this is an amazing engine. It is so sporty as well. It can you know, just, it's so forgiving when, especially if you're on like higher gears, like if you're on 2 and 3, you can go very slow and then you can rev it up to go faster. But yeah, about 3, it's a little bit hard. But so you cannot go too slow on a 4th gear. But 1, 2, 3 is fine. You can just go down and come back up. It's totally fine. So the first 3 gears are kind of revvy. You know, you will feel it that you wanted to go faster in those gears. I kind of love it in a way. I don't hate it. But when you are off-road, I kind of switched between being a very peaceful off-road guy to being a very aggressive off-road guy. So that's how I felt, you know, because I had a Honda XR 150L. With that engine, I was just chugging down, you know, just going very slow over any obstacle that I find. But with this one, I always feel like, okay, I have to rev and I have to just jump and I have to do all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I enjoy the engine, and this thing can go so fast. It can rev it up and go fast. So in Vietnam, it's very hard to go fast. So even on highways, we don't get to go fast. So I tested it in some places, some areas where I can actually test it. So, and it does go fast. It's so good. Yeah, but sadly we cannot take advantage of it. So I installed a cruise control from Veridian and I stick to the speed limits of Vietnam. The engine is the best part of this bike. You know, you don't need to worry anything about the engine. That's not going to break down on you at any point in time. Maybe after a few years, over hundreds of thousands of kilometers, yeah, it might have a problem. But until then, if you take care of it well, it will give you smiles all day long. So the engine, great. When it comes to the gear shifts, they are pretty darn good as well. I never had any misshifts unless I did something wrong. Other than that, I never came across any issues with the shifts. The clutch is also very light. Honda clutches are always like that. They're very light. So the clutch is light, the shifts are good. And I also upgraded to a quick shifter. So I rode Transalp without a quick shifter for a year or more. And then I switched to quick shifter. Right now, it's even better. So it does up and down. Quick shifting is bi-directional. So it's really good. But I really enjoy the downshifts, not the up. So maybe in Europe or US, people enjoy the upshifts more. Here, I enjoy the downshifts. Now, about the brakes are actually good. They do their job. I'm not going to say the numbers like 320, some calipers and two piston and all that kind of stuff. Those things are meant for actual motorcycle reviews. I'm just sharing how I feel riding this bike. So I would say that Transalp's brakes are pretty great for what they are. It can stop you from 3-digit speeds to like single-digit speed in a few seconds. So I would say that that's pretty impressive. So the front brake is great and the back is also great. I actually changed the back from stinted to the non-stinted ones, which actually runs out faster, but it gives you more feedback. Like you can feel the tire, especially when you turn off ABS, you can feel the tire being dragged through the dirt, and for those all awesome skids that you want to do. All right, so the brakes are good as well. Another thing which I love about this bike is actually the exhaust note. This is an amazing exhaust note. I've never came across any exhaust note from an adventure bike which sounds great out of the box. But this one does. This one really do. That's one of the key reasons I still keep my stock exhaust. Otherwise, I would have thought of changing earlier. But right now, I do not have a need. And this actually sounds really good for my ears. Actually, it only need to satisfy my ears. I don't need to satisfy others. So I'm actually pretty happy with the exhaust note that comes out of stock exhaust. Just that I believe it should be a little bit high up, and aesthetically it should be high up and it looks nicer that way. This one here, I actually already had a few scratches when I went off-roading. So yeah, not the best place for an exhaust system for an adventure bike to be. It should be all the way high up. So we have talked about the performance and the feel factor. I think next is all about comfort. So this is where Transalp really shines. When it's compared to its other Japanese competitor, which is Tenere 700. Tenere for me is kind of like a tall bike. I'm 174 centimeter tall. Transalp on a stock suspension, I can flat foot the bike, which is amazing. Tenere, I barely can even tiptoe on that bike. And that too, it's very scary for me. So I cannot take that out every day. So this one serves as my daily rider. It's my commuter in the city. I take it to my office, I take it to coffee shops, I take it to supermarkets, I take it for long distance touring, I do for trail riding. This is my do-it-all bike. So when I have something like this, Tenere has no place. It gets very difficult. At Tenere, of course, if you're highly skilled, you know how to ride that bike, tall, commanding position, you can do it. But for me, as a beginner to intermediate rider, I think this is a perfect platform. For example, I went to sand. I was able to manage this 200 plus kilogram bike on sand. Of course, I fell once or twice, but majority of the time, I did it. I could handle this thing. That's perfect. That's when you need to also compare about the balance of the bike. This is amazingly balanced bike. The weight is all the way down. It's, I don't know how, but they manage the weight balancing, even though the tank is all the way high up. The KTM, they have the tank down so that they can balance it right. But for us, it's all the way up here, and still, it's well balanced. The bike is amazing. I don't know how they do it, but it is good. Of course, KTM is a little bit more better because the tank is all the way down. The ease of use and the feel factor of being on this bike, as a 174 centimeter tall person, this is a winner. Oh, any day. Another thing is the seat. The Tenere is not that comfortable when you do long distance touring. This one is much better than Tenere, but I wouldn't say that it's really that great, but it's good enough. Especially for my wife, when she's riding with me, when we go distances, she sits behind me, and for her, the seat is pretty damn good as well. So she also loved this. So I would say that for comfort of riding is amazing. And standing on this bike is also quite natural for me. I have very less issues, and I can control the handlebar. I haven't changed my handlebar or changed the position of the handlebar. I'm on stock handlebar razors and stock handlebar settings. So I just use the same thing, and I'm totally fine using that way. So I would say that the comfort part of this bike is what made me to take the decision to buy this bike. Till now I spoke about whatever I liked about this bike, the fuel, everything is great, but there are certain things which bugs me, but I feel like I can let go of those things as well. All right. The first is being the suspension. So I know that the internet hates Honda Transalp's suspension. A lot of people have said bad reviews about the suspension, but hear me out. I'm riding this bike most of the time at 60, 70 kilometer per hour. At these speeds, the suspension is more than enough. If you're going higher speeds on road, this suspension is enough. Let's say you're hitting 100, 120, this suspension is fine. It can do the job. It gets bad when you actually take this bike off-road and if you're if you're riding a little bit aggressive. Because I tried riding to a destination here in Saigon, not in Saigon, in South Vietnam, a place called Dalat, and I rode it with my friend. He was riding a WR155. It's a proper dirt bike. And this one, I was riding this one. So we went through some trails. And there were portions of it I was riding really fast, and I could really feel my back being very bouncy, and it pushes you out of the seat. It throws you out, and especially when you do some jumps and your back tire hits a big stone or something like that. Suddenly, when you're going fast, that's when you get surprised. I wouldn't say that's a big minus. How often do you ride like that? You need to ask that question to yourself. For me, it's just 20 to 30% of the time. So I'm okay with the suspension. I don't have needs to upgrade it right now, but it's there in the list of upgrades, but it's a very expensive upgrade, so I'm not planning to actually do it. So we may do it in the future. But for a common person who wants to own this bike, use it as an everyday bike and do light trails, once in a blue moon, do some really aggressive riding, you can do it. It's not like you can't. You can, but just keep in mind that it's a pogo stick. So when you see a really big a challenge in front of you, just try to slow down a bit, and then, yeah, of course, you can get over it. So we talked about suspension. Just want to point out that the front suspension is not that bad. It's the back which is the worst. So I would say that try to tweak your back suspension. I have increased the preload by 1 or 2 notch, just to make sure that it's a little bit firm, with my weight on it, because I'm around 90, 94 kilograms. The second one, which I don't like about this bike, this is really don't like, is the headlights. They are very bad. The headlights, I don't know why motorcycle companies give out these headlights. It's a mandatory thing to be road legal, so give us a really damn good headlights. It's not that hard to give us a good headlight. We don't need too many lights in there. Give us one powerful light. So if you can do that, that would be great, because Hondas, they're known for making some of the bad headlights. But I don't know why they do it, but it's some cost saving or something. I don't know, but try to give us some really good headlights. The, the next negative thing, which not negative, but something for improvement, I think the Honda can do, is to give us tubeless wheels. Right now, I have converted my wheels to tubeless with Outex and 3M tapes. So I wouldn't recommend anyone who's like me, who does majority of the road riding, majority of the city riding, and once in a while go out to explore, go trails. We have very less time. When we have time, we want to go riding. We don't want to be keep fixing tires on the road. We don't want to do that. So that would be like 60-70% of your actual buyers, Honda. So please give us that. The next recommendation is not a problem. There is no issue or anything. I think there are two things with it's the electronics, but inside the electronics there are two things that I want Honda to. One is to fix, one is to add. The first is to fix. I think if you're giving an option to turn off ABS and traction control, make sure we can retain that settings when we turn off and turn on the ignition. This is something very important, because when we ride off-road, there are multiple times we will stop the bike and we will get back on it. It's not like road riding. When we ride road, we stop less. But when we are on off-road, we stop a lot of times. Our mates might fall. We need to pick them up. There'll be a river crossing. We might have to stop and things like that. So it's important for us to stop very often while we are on off-road. So it's important for us to have that feature where we can retain the settings of electronics. So that needs to be fixed. The second part is to add a feature, which is cruise control. I've added cruise control to my bike, but the thing is that it's Veridian Cruise, it's not an OEM cruise. So I think Honda should have an OEM cruise control, so it's easy for us to have it on Honda so that it doesn't take away our warranty and stuff like that. Please provide us cruise control, because majority of us are riding road majority of the time. We have talked mostly about everything right now. We talked about the looks, we talked about the performance and feel factors, talked about comfort, we talked about the things that I want Honda to improve. Of course, there are no unicorn bikes for all, that fits all. There are only bikes that you think that it fits you, and then you have to buy that and make it your own adjustments to make it all yours. So I'm doing the same. This is going to be a keeper for me as long as I can, and I will try my best to make it better for me over the course of time. So it's a project bike as well. So the next update I want to do on this is the LSK dongle to help me with the turning off traction control and ABS. Okay, before I close the video, I would also like to explain about the mileage that I get out of this. It's a 17.5 liter tank, and I normally get a full tank with about 380 kilometers, or roughly around 370, 380. with mixed kind of riding, like a little bit of highway, a little bit of city, a little bit of country roads and stuff like that. So mixed riding, we get around 370, 380. But we don't go any faster here. So the majority of the rides that I've done is in between 60 to 70 or 80 kilometers per hour. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's the mileage that I get out of Transalp, which is actually pretty great for a parallel twin with a mid-capacity bike. It's a pretty good mileage. Now, coming to the final aspect, which is the service. This is where I think Vietnam has an edge over other countries. Honda in Vietnam is such a famous thing. Like the price, the service, everything will be cheaper with Honda. So the same goes for the service of Transalp in Vietnam. It's so much cheaper to do service for Honda here in Vietnam. So for example, I did a valve cleaning, air filter change, oil filter change, and all general checks together. All this came up to nearly 6 million Vietnam dong. If you do the same amount of work on a Triumph, let's say a Triumph 850 Sport, it will be double the cost with other brands. So I would say that the service here in Vietnam is also better or nicer. I think, I mean, I'm actually happy with the service that I've received so far. So you just need to take the bike to the service center. You can book the service as well. There's an app where we can book the service through the app, the Honda service app. And you have a profile. You can see all your service history over there. It's actually pretty great. So I do that. And but the service intervals in Vietnam is pretty insane. They ask us to do the service every 3,000 kilometers, which is insane for a big bike like this. We don't need to service every 3,000 kilometer. I don't know why. Even scooters, I don't do that often. Scooters, I guess normally we are supposed to do every 1,000 kilometer or 1,500 kilometers. I do it every 3,000 kilometers, and my wife's scooter is nearly 15 years old, and we still do it the same way. So I think this one, 3,000 kilometers, I did it for the first, I think the first 3 times. I listened to them and I took it there. But after the third service, I felt like, okay, that's enough. Now I don't need to take it based on what they say. But the manual actually says 10 or 12,000 kilometers in Honda Transalp, a manual, owner's manual. So I'm going to take it around, let's say, 6,000 to 7,000 kilometers. I will take it to service. So I don't do oil change myself. In Asia, we don't need to. It costs much cheaper than changing it in the Western regions. I know you guys do it yourself. I have seen that majority of you guys do it yourself. And another thing is that we don't have space and tools to do it ourselves in Asia, as it's much cheaper to take it to a service and then they will do it for you. All right, so I think we have covered majority of the points about Honda Transalp. I hope this video was informative in some form. If yes, and if you have more questions, please don't forget to comment down below. I'm happy to help you guys out. And I'll see you guys in my next video, and wish you all a happy new year, and I'll see you guys in 2026. Ciao, and ride safe.